The ANC in the Free State says it will announce a new premier by the end of the week. The party says 3 names have been submitted to its National Executive Committee and the resignation process is in motion. This comes after Premier Sisi Ntombela called the party's Secretary General, Fikile Mbalula, indicating her intention to resign. According to the letter seen by SABC, her resignation as Premier and member of the Provincial legislature will be effective from the 24th of February.
Sisi Ntombela took over as Premier in 2018 after Ace Magashule vacated the position to become the ANC Secretary General. She's the 4th woman to take up this position in the province. There's been widespread concerns over governance issues at both provincial and municipal levels in the province. In August 2022, Auditor General Tsakani Maluleke warned that the Free State was in serious trouble with not a single municipality receiving a clean audit for the past 5 years. The ANC in the province resolved to recall her after she lost her bid to become the provincial chairperson at the party's polls last month. Her resignation paves the way for a new premier. Yet opposition parties are not hopeful of any change. They say although Ntombela's resignation is long overdue, a new premier will not bring a difference.
It's a disrespect to Free State people. And by the way, we know that they are bringing different set of thieves that are still going to steal. Not only that, corruption will still thrive under these people. It's not like they in any way prioritize anything. They just speak corruption, but in earnest, majority of them are in the forefront making it possible.
As we stand today, we've been informed that she has resigned. Whether the ANC have accepted it or received a resignation letter is unclear at this stage. But what we do know is that all of this has destabilized the Free State. Our provincial government departments don't know who's in charge. Our municipalities, where various cadres have been deployed, are very unstable. And this is affecting service delivery for the people of the Free State.
State Premier found herself between the devil and the deep blue sea. On the one hand, there's a State of the Province address in a week's time, but she was recalled by her own party and even redeployed. We still don't know. However, nothing's going to change in the Free State. It's in the DNA of the ANC to not worry about service delivery, not worry about the residents of the Free State.
A political analyst says Ntombela's resignation exposes the fractures within the party in the province. He says it is clear that she was pressured into resigning.
There was pressure on her. It's a typical Gwedemantashe thing where the ANC does not want to take the citizens of this province into confidence in South Africans by making a public announcement about the Premier's resignation. But yet, once again, I strongly believe that political expediency is taking precedence over certain priorities. But back of the matter is, it is a political decision, and we want to see there will be tremendous pressure on those who will be taking over from Sisi Ntombela.
The ANC in the province says the resignation process is still unfolding and the process to interview a new premier is underway. The party says it should have a new premier by the end of the week to prepare for the State of the Province address expected to take place next week.
The Provincial Executive Committee of the ANC has expressed a wish that Ntate Mxolisi Dukwana should take over the premiership, and we have explained why. We have been undertaking a process of trying to align ourselves, our structures, branches of the ANC, regional structures of the ANC, to do our work in a manner that is quite seamless, that takes into account that there are decisions of the ANC and that these decisions must be implemented, including in government. So our voice in government should be none other than Mxolisi Dukwana.
The ANC is expected to formally announce Dukwana as the incoming premier on Thursday. Dukwana is set to deliver the State of the Province address next week. Kamogelo Siekwi, SABC News, Bloemfontein.
Ntombela's resignation comes after she lost out on the ANC provincial chairpersonship position to Mxolisi Dukwana. ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula says he was notified by the Premier that she was intending on resigning.
Member Ntombela informed me last night that she intends to resign from her position as Premier of the Free State. I've not received the resignation. I've asked the Provincial Secretary. Coming to this press conference, I tried to check her whereabouts to get to know about this resignation. What we know in the organization is that the Provincial Executive Committee post the conference took a decision to restructure government in the Free State.
The ANC Secretary General has also cautioned against an abrupt resignation by the Premier that could cause a leadership crisis in the province.
We are implementing a decision of change in the Free State. That's what is going to happen. And we expect the comrades at the level of the province to have engaged with Premier Ntombela so that there is smooth transition in the handover of power in the province. It's not abrupt, it does not disorganize the province, but we are ready for anything. Should anything happen, like abrupt resignation and so on, the ANC will be ready to handle that. There's no crisis.
ANC Provincial Chairperson and MEC of Human Settlements, Mqolisi Dukwana, is tipped to take over the reins from Ntombela as Premier of the province. On national government, ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula says the party's NEC has thrown its weight behind President Ramaphosa's announcement of a Minister of Electricity.
This Minister of Electricity, his or her job will focus mainly on load shedding. Nothing more, nothing less. It's a transitional mechanism. The NEC also received a report that government is in the process of being reconfigured, and the resolutions of the ANC 55th conference will be implemented that relate to relocating ESCOM to energy and all other entities like Transnet to transport. That work is being done in government as we receive the report.
President Ramaphosa is expected to announce changes to the executive after the budget speech this week, where a number of ministers may face the chop. Samkele Masego, SABC News, Johannesburg.
And joining us to discuss this matter is analyst Professor Sutileho Matebisi from the University of the Free State. A very good evening to you, Prof. Thank you so much for speaking to us. I'd imagine that this question has been asked countless times, that people were asking this question when we heard that the provincial leadership of the Free State would change, if Premier Sisi Ntombela would be pushed or if she would volunteer to resign. What is your reading of the situation, particularly given the fact that we were told that already at the weekend, if the information is correct, that the ANC was already interviewing 3 candidates for her position?
Hi, good evening, Tsepiso, and good evening to the viewers. Yet once again, a very surprising move. I take note of what Secretary General of the African National is stating, that there's no crisis. We've seen in Northwest, we've seen in KZN that immediately after the provincial elective conference, there seems to be changes. So for many of us, that is not surprising. What is surprising is after some of the very public pronouncements that have been made to say that the ANC is on a new trajectory. But the way things have been going, I don't think it's good for the organization where such a key member of the African National Congress, the Premier for that matter, will make a pronouncement, later retract and things like that. That is not good for the organization, but it also tells you the chaotic situations behind the scenes and the pressure on the current leadership of the African National Congress to try and ameliorate some of the challenges that the party have been facing, and in particular in this particular province.
I'm just wondering, because according to some insiders, and you can tell me if you don't think that it's it's significant that Ms. Ntombela was pushed to resign after losing to Mr. Tukwana as a provincial chair. But the fact that there's even debate over whether her resignation was immediate or she put in a resignation letter dated 21 April 2023, intending that she wants to stay for another 2 months.
Well, based on what has been happening, I mean, there's been calls for her to resign. So I strongly believe that she might have been pushed to resign. And I think there's been tremendous pressure. I mean, fact of the matter is, since the provincial elective conference, many regions has been calling for her resignation. And as I've stated, and I've been very consistent on this particular issue, to say that the ANC is advancing a narrative of renewal. What does that mean? Are those who have lost out, are they now being pushed out? But we should also understand there are some within the African National Congress who says, well, it was a democratic process, the elections, and they would want to implement, the resolutions taken at that provincial elective conference. But I strongly believe that perhaps it was not the right move to remove her now. But well, there's a resignation, and we will never know whether she had been put. But I strongly believe that there might have been undue pressure on Ntombela to resign, or she just took it upon herself to say, well, all signs are there that points that ultimately she will be asked to resign, or otherwise she will be pushed out.
The Secretary General of the ANC, Mr. Mbalula, indicating that the provincial structure had been consulted extensively about, and the national leadership about the role of the Premier, and these three names, Nkolisi Tukwana, Ketso Makume, and Diwulelo Mahlatsi. You spoke about renewal. Mbalula speaking about the intention to reconfigure the government in the province. Now, what do each of these names represent in order to live up to this reconfiguration, and what it should look like, other than the issues we already know of, what the province has been dogged with, corruption and bad, incompetent service delivery? Prof, are you still with us, or it seems like we have lost this connection? Let's see if we can get Professor Sutilego Matebisi back again to just talk to us about the news that's come in, and that is the Free State Premier Sisi Ntombela. We understand that she's put in her resignation, so we'll come back to the story, but let's go on to this. The Tswane speaker has refuted claims that he deliberately recognized former Tshwane Mayor Randall Williams'